Today we're coming in with a fighter spotlight. A newly signed MMA fighter for MMA T Company is James Netflix Neville. He's fighting out of the MMA Institute in Richmond, Virginia. James, a professional fighter. James, thanks for joining me today. How you feeling, on this Christmas week?
Feeling good, man. I got the week off, feeling kind of relaxed. I've been kind of just only focused on training. I don't have to worry about, training and work, the whole try to get my work in and then trying to train and then go to work. So I don't have to worry about that. So it's pretty good all considering. And it's, real nice out for a winter, I guess.
Yeah. It's like up here in Lancaster, it's probably 45 degrees right now. It's supposed to be 51 on Christmas Eve. So all that snow we got is going to be gone.
Yeah, it's like it hasn't really hit us here. It's like maybe 50s, 60s. So it's not a normal winter over here.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of not a normal winter, I don't think it's been much of a normal year for anyone really in this sport. I saw recently that you competed and won a belt at Naga. Is that really the extent of the competing that you've been doing since COVID kind of hit back in March, or did you have some other things going on? When was your, first pro fight? Talk me through those things.
Yeah, well, the pro fight was a little before COVID. I think it was like late last year, right before, because I know COVID was kind of like early in the year, and then March is when it got crazy. But yeah, Naga, that's really the only thing I've had from a competitive standpoint so far during this whole thing. Yeah, I mean, this was obviously a crazy year with COVID and everything. It was a big year for me as far as making the move to Richmond, switching gyms, just moving in general from a different area, and then having to, kind of adjust to this area with, living the new job and everything. So it's been a lot of adjusting. Still been training. I mean, at first it was kind of small with the COVID thing, so I've been kind of doing the best with what I got. But now it's starting to feel a little more normal. And then this last week this weekend I had Naga, and I haven't competed in jiu-jitsu in a while. I kind of focused more on MMA for a bit. So this was kind of one of those, like, there's nothing popping up just yet. Let's just go out there and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like almost the fact that there weren't a whole lot of fights and not a lot going on, that almost aided you in your move in terms of moving to Richmond, starting at a new gym, not also having the stress of being through a fight camp and constantly cutting weight and doing things like that. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing about jiu-jitsu terms I really love. Like with fighting, it's like it's intent. It's like, it's a very set schedule. Training's a lot harder. You have specific strategies. Then you got the weight cut, and you got to go through all that, and then the replenishing, and then all of this for just like a maybe 15-minute fight. It's way more intense. Jiu-jitsu, I love. You could plan that a day before and like, hey, let's go to a tournament, and it's very relaxing. I had a lot of new guys competing, or some of the new guys at my gym were competing, and they're like, oh, how do you deal with the nerves? I'm like, bro, take an MMA fight and it's night and day how different it is. So it's really, that's why I kind of want to do it, just go out there, compete, but also it's like, it's very relaxed, and you don't have to, I never cut weight for a jiu-jitsu tournament because there's no reason for that.
Yeah, I subscribe to the mentality of I just kind of show up at whatever weight I'm at, and that's what I'm going to compete.
Right.
Now, in terms of your start in, martial arts in general, I saw that you're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So was that your first martial art?
Yeah, well, wrestling was the very, very beginning. I think when I was like around 10, maybe a little sooner. It's funny. I got into wrestling because I loved watching, the WWF or WWE right now. That was always such a big fan of that. And then obviously it was different, but then I got into wrestling, and I just loved it. I was doing that for such a long time. And then eventually, once I got closer to the end of high school, and then I started watching UFC when Chuck Liddell was out there knocking people out, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And, wrestling after college, there's not much of a thing you can do with it. So, let's get a jiu-jitsu try. So I always tell people I'm more of a grappler, not necessarily a wrestler or jiu-jitsu guy. I just like anything on the ground is where I feel most comfortable.
Yeah, and before we jump into the next question, I got to ask who your favorite WWF wrestler was.
Oh, man. I think Stone Cold had to be it for me. I mean, like the Attitude Era in the 90s where, like, they would never get away with that nowadays where it's, like, way PG. Yeah, but no, there's a lot of great people. The Stone Cold, The Undertaker, those were loved them as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I think to this day, if you hear that glass shatter, most people are still going to get chills.
Oh yeah, it's man. You can't. I remember I fought a guy who had that too, and it kind of made me mad. I was like, man, you can't do that. You can't just use another man's thing. But yeah, no, it's the best. You can't really replace that.
Absolutely. And you said, you focused primarily on MMA and not so much on strictly jujitsu in the past couple years, I think you said. What does that difference in training look like in terms of, you started kind of, you call yourself a grappler, not just a jujitsu guy or a wrestler guy, but then that transition into training more of an all-around MMA style. Was it adding more striking days? Was it not relying so much on your grappling when you're training? What does that look like?
I guess it's more of working in the gi, more say like when you're in MMA. Obviously, there's no gi in MMA, or at least not since the Pride days. But it's more, more the wrestling, more moving and stuff. So I didn't took away from my gi training. So I've gotten a little more into that, just like really working on the gi, really trying to work that to get more experience and definitely get a move up my weight class or move in to get a better belt.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, just trying to make a good mixture between the striking and then like the grappling, because early in my amateur career it was just all ground game. I took everyone down, submitted them, which was good. I was getting a lot of wins and a lot of finishes, but after a while, people have good takedown defense, or sometimes get better grapplers, so you have to have that striking. And my striking has always been good. I've just never, every time I've had an opponent, my ground game has always been what I was better at. So I just took it to where the advantage was more for me. So I'm just, yeah, it's more working the gi and more just like, yeah, making sure it all balances out. Because I think when I was starting to get pro, I was really going heavy into the striking. So I'm just, it's all about finding that right balance between grappling and the striking.
Yeah, my one issue that I ran into was that I wanted to be a striker, even though I am primarily a ground fighter. I want to, put you on the cage, drag you to the mat, and then beat you up from there. And
Yeah.
I almost felt like I had to prove myself as a striker, and I lost some fights because of it, because I came out and wanted to strike with strikers. Did you have that
Yeah.
same kind of progression in your fighting of you kind of went too far one way and then bringing it back to kind of what you're naturally going to do anyway?
Not necessarily. I think, when it comes to MMA fight, it's kind of like at the end of the day, you got to get the win, you got to get the W. Maybe not as much in amateur. That's more about learning, but at the same time, you want to get better and you want to, you know, if you want to work something, working in training, working in practice, go to other gyms, go to, open mat kind of sparring stuff. That's where you want to test it. But at the end of the day, when you go to a fight, you really want to put yourself in the best scenario to win. So it's usually always been grappling. I think for when I was in the Cowboy Fight Series, that was when I was going against a guy who was equally as good on the ground with me. So that's the one time I actually decided to keep it striking, and then that obviously worked out really well. So when it comes to fight, I just go with the best strategy to win. While keeping it exciting, I would definitely, always want to go for the finish. You don't want to be a boring fight. That's not as great of a win, but I always try to keep it towards where I have the best chance of winning.
Sure. And is that something that, beforehand you and your coaches sit down and, you'll game plan for a fighter and look at tendencies and different things where you think you can take advantage of them? Or do you prefer to kind of stick to a game plan that you're good at and impose that on someone when you go out, regardless who the opponent is?
Um, I would say a little of both. Well, like my coaches, I'll look at myself, and then at the same time, I'll give them the video and like kind of have what they think I need to work on, because they'll be able to see it
Mhm.
better and tell me what to do. But it's really more about implementing my game, or just doing what I do best. Like, so obviously I'm good at the ground, so forced to the ground. But anytime with my strategy, whether it be grappling or striking, it's always pushing forward, putting them against the cage. So naturally that works great with my grappling. So once I get them to the cage, push them against it, take it down, it works there. But not necessarily do what's, just implement what I'm good at doing. And that usually will work most of the time. It's not really, it's kind of like we'll watch what they do to watch out for it, or what we need to work on more. But it's really more of making them fight my fight, essentially.
Got you. And that style that you do have of backing people down, putting them on the cage, getting them to the mat, it's a very taxing style, right? You got to be in really good shape if you want to fight at a pace like that. So are you primarily just grappling training MMA, or are you doing some kind of, other form of cardio, whether it's running, swimming, riding bike, anything like that?
Yeah, so I do also train with there's a gym, Beyond Strength Performance. It's kind of it's a lifting gym, but it's more like a combination of lifting but personal training. Like they make set programs for me. So it's a lot of lifting and cardio. It's really great with them. I always sit down with them, usually monthly or every other month, and we go over what my program is going to be and what is best for me. So it's not just lift weights to get strong, it's lift for my fighting. So a lot of it's, explosion stuff, a lot of like work really hard, take little breaks, kind of implement round fighting. Obviously running's really good. It's harder in the winter, so I try to get my runs in every time I can, but it's good. Yeah. So I train with them for lifting. They had a gym over in Sterling, but since the move, they've now, sent me it, and I just go to like a Gold's gym and do it there. But I still get that really good training though. So it's, yeah. So a lot of like lifting, but not lifting it heavy, just a lot of like explosion, like, lifting for fighting essentially. And then running, I'll add in there usually or like before practice or before lifting. But yeah, the grappling and Muay Thai, cardio is definitely great, but then you got to add that strength and conditioning too, because, you always say technique can beat anyone, but, go against someone with really good technique also, then you got to go in other factors like who's stronger than, who's faster. Yeah, when you're fighting someone in a cage, you definitely don't want that cardio running out.
Absolutely. And now looking towards 2021, it's almost that time, and a lot of people that I've talked to have said, I can't wait till next year, because fights are going to be starting up, and some promotions are running fights, some are not. Are you in talks with anyone about getting back in the cage in 2021? Is it something that you're looking forward to, in the first couple of months, or are you kind of waiting to see how the cards fall in terms of what promotions are going to be happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those crazy things. You just got to see how it goes. I mean, I keep hearing little small talks, these things on social media. There might be another lockdown. There might be more things. You don't know how it's going to go. But then you got the vaccine coming out, so you don't know if that'll make it better. It's really hard to tell. I mean, I'm game to fight. I've talked to my coaches. I've always been like, I just stay ready, and then I let my coach work on that, and then he gets back to me, and we kind of go from there. So it's not necessarily, I don't really look myself. I kind of trust that, they're looking for things, if they're getting offers, and then once something is, good for me, they'll bring it to me, and then we kind of just go from there.
Sure, that makes sense. Um, and last question before I let you go, I just got to know where you got your nickname Netflix.
So that one is kind of hard to explain. Well, not really. Yeah, it was Showtime for a while, which I got from wrestling, and I really love that one, and I just kind of stuck with it. But with Disciple, my head coach, they kind of just gave me it for a while, and I kind of just accepted it. I asked them what the reason was, and they were kind of like, "Oh, just you're a chill guy." So we always thought like, Netflix and chill, and I thought that was a good thing. So I mean, I loved it right away. I mean, as you probably tell with social media, I'm very big with posting. I do some funny stuff here and there, make little memes in a little bit. And at the end of the day, you got to be marketable. And when they heard Netflix Neville, I'm like, I haven't heard anyone with that name, so I'm gonna take that and run. So I guess because I'm a chill guy, I'm pretty relaxed. Most people will say about me. So, but from the biggest thing, once I gave it to me, I'm like, all right, cool, I can go crazy with that. People are gonna see that, and it's gonna be really funny. I mean, the shirt we got now with Neville and Chill that's funny. It's interesting. If they don't know what it means, if they don't like Neville, what is that? They're like, oh, that's a fighter, Netflix. So it's a conversation starter. It gets the ball rolling, makes them talk about it more. So it was very simple, but ever since I got it, I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, we love it. When Alex and I, saw what your cage name was, I was like, we definitely got to work with that guy. And then, saw your fights, and I was like, oh, now we definitely got to work with that guy. So, we're happy to have you, part of our team here at MMA Company. Before I let you go, I just wanted to kind of give you the floor and give any shout outs to any coaches, sponsors, family, friends, anyone that's been supporting you, throughout your career thus far. Cause I know a lot of people, have supported me, and there's gotta be somebody that's out there supporting you as well.
Yeah. Oh man, I love this question. I hate it at the same time because I feel like I always freeze and forget people. But the obvious one, MMA Richmond, Virginia. Ever since I came here, they've been nothing but great. They've such welcoming. Like everyone, even before I got to the gym, I had people messaging me like, "Hey, welcome! Can't wait to work with you." And it's just been really, really great working with everyone there. It's like a new family to me. I still have a lot of love for everyone at the Disciple MMA Academy. Even though I'm at a different gym, it's really great because Rick, who owns MMA, is, he says that he's like brothers or Rick and Scott are like, they're like brothers, really good friends. So it's great that I can still keep that relationship. Beyond Strike Performance, even though I moved over here, they've been, still giving me programs, still working with me. So that's been really, really great. My girlfriend, Kelly, she's also a fighter too. And, this has been quite a process for both of us, but, we've been supporting each other as much as we can with, I have my competition, she's getting ready for stuff too. So it's just been a lot of fun. Yeah, just get me. Yeah, just and all my friends and family. A lot of people, I'm usually whenever I do stuff, I'm always posting about stuff, and everyone's always, helping me out, showing support, whether I've talked to them recently or haven't talked to them in years. I love the love that I'm getting from people that have just been out there supporting me. So like everyone, yeah, I wish I could go down the list of names, but it would take forever. But I mean, I just want to get the main one. But everyone who's there who supports me, whether it's a like on Facebook or the reach out to me, I always appreciate it. Like it never goes unmissed.
Awesome, James. I appreciate your time today. We're looking forward to seeing you back in the cage or in competitions or both in 2021. Stay safe, have a happy holiday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me. I love being part of this team, and I can't wait to do more with you, man.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. We'll see you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.